why I'm streaming early. So normally I would stream at 9 a.m. It's normally how it would work. But I got super caught up. I've been up, like I'm still up from the night before. I got super caught up in Overwatch. So I was playing competitive Overwatch. It was like midnight. And I was winning a few games and I was losing a few games. It was kind of tied, and I had just gotten off of like a really bad loss, and I was like, all right, I'll play one more, and then I'm gonna go to bed. It's midnight, like I gotta get up and stream in the morning, whatever. I get paired with this team, and we wipe the floor with them, and they want to group up, and I'm like, okay. So then they add me to a group. I meet all these people, and they're really cool, and like we're talking and stuff. It's communicative in terms of like how we're playing. So I'm like, okay, this is awesome. So we play the next game, and we're able to communicate and talk properly, and we're crushing teams. We ended up going. We won 12 games. We won 10 in a row, and we went 12-2 in one draw. And then it's 7 in the morning, and I'm like, oh my god, we just played like 6-7 hours. Like it was crazy. So I was just too hyped. I was no way I'm gonna stop. We were like winning constantly, like literally 10 games in a row we won. And I'm like, there's no way. We can't just stop. I went up, like my competitive points went up like 400 or 500 points. It was so much fun. And I was like, okay, well here's the thing. I could go to bed. I don't see the point for like 2 hours. Or I can go grab a coffee next door because there's a gas station just down the street. I'll grab a coffee. I'll just stream for a couple hours and then get maybe 3-4 hours of sleep, and then go home and watch the football games tonight because that's one of the reasons why I wanted to stream in the morning today, for an example. So let's let's go. Let's. I'm feeling ready. I'm so psyched up about that I can't like think straight about anything else. Okay, so this is what we worked on yesterday. This that one? Nope, this one. This long, ridiculous string of music that may seem a little nonsensical when you look at it at first glance, but I actually thought it turned out well. What this is really is just like a giant map of like what exactly I want. What this was is somebody giving me the idea of writing a song for like space travel. So, I'd written that up there, and this was like a week back, and I wrote like kind of like a rough draft of like how I wanted it to sound, and the general consensus when it comes to space music in general is a lot of the times it's not minor or major because you think of space, there's a lot of unknown in space, it's very ambiguous, and so therefore the key is ambiguous. So there's a lot of that going on. What else? There's a lot of fading in and fading out, and there's a lot of build-up with space-themed music. A lot like EDM, actually. And so we kind of discovered that as we were listening to different things like Mass Effect soundtracks, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, all those soundtracks of space-themed things. They all just kind of seem to work nicely like that. So I came up with this, and a lot of the other important thing too is they always have some sort of distinct rhythm that is going on, usually in the background. And this was evident in like Terminator music, which Terminator is more sci-fi than it is space, but I think it still applies. A lot of synths in space music, obviously. It's supposed to sound futuristic. So I came up with this kind of repeating pattern, which is something like... You can hear that. Now, right now I'm using a setting where it's electric piano and also string. And it won't be like that when I eventually write this out. It'll be just electric piano going like this. And one of the main chords, which I had written out there, is this. And that's just a D flat 9 chord. It's a 5 chord, which means it also is a little ambiguous. If you look at it from without bass notes, or you just look at it generically, it's actually just a diminished chord. It's F diminished. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. So it's very ambiguous, you know, with a lot left to be desired, essentially. So what this kind of cheat is this very strange, interesting little roadmap, essentially, that details out what exactly I'm playing, what exactly I'm building upon. So it starts with this, right? Anytime you see anything enclosed in repeat signs, it basically just means this is being added on top of what had previously been played. So it starts with this, right? Just that's it, right? When it comes to this, I rate something that says continue bass. It's tough to see, I know, but it says continue bass, which means it's just on top of this. It doesn't just, you don't stop playing the bass. All of these are being built on top of one another, essentially, unless I say like stop or something like that. So it starts off just this, and then for the time being, I have this kind of thing. This is it's tough to play with. It's tough to play even with 2 hands. So this is something obviously that I would play in MIDI, where this would just loop. I just play that a couple times and let it loop, and then I can do other stuff. You know what I mean? You kind of have to do that with this type of music. And then I have this. And then eventually that's going to build and build and get louder and louder until instead of this, it's one long continuous thing that goes like this. And then we have these series of chords that go from there to there. And it sounds like this. Now, it sounds a little empty, and that's mostly because there's not the strings. So let's add the strings. And this is just going to keep getting louder and louder and building until we reach a certain point. And it just goes back to this. And then we get to what I'm going to classify as the melody of the song, which is this. You know, this is just kind of doing whatever, and then meanwhile, underneath all of that are going to be chords. And I can't play all of it because it sounds a little empty right now, and that's just because I can't play those chords right now. And then we have this part, which is like one of my favorite parts. So after we build to a point where we're doing this, really screw this up, I know. This, which is like one of my favorite parts of the song, and then it just keeps building again. And then I have this written down, which is like the most confusing thing ever, I know. But what it basically means, what I'm trying to get with what I've written there, and it's probably tough to see, but what it says is something along the lines of play different inversions of D flat 7 over A flat going down. I think that's what it says. I honestly can't even really read what it says because my handwriting is some of the worst you'll ever see. And what that means is now we've built it to this high point. And what I'm going to do from there is go up just a smidge, and then with these next couple of measures, we're just going to slowly die down. So this is the top. Like that, and fade. And that's what I mean by this, is just bass. So I'm doing this. And that fades out, and then that's how it's going to end. And that's why it changes the bass line from back to the beginning bass line, which was, and then fade out until there's nothing left. So really quick, I'm just going to kind of walk through where I think this is going to fit in, just in general. Why I think that this is a decent little thing here. So when I think of space travel, when I think of what I wanted to accomplish with this, I wanted it to think of you're on this ship and you're sleeping and you wake up, and let's say you work on the ship, but it's your first time on a spaceship, like really on a spaceship, and you are awakened from your room and you look outside and you see space for the first time. And that's what this is. And what this is, what I'm kind of trying to do with this is it's almost like, it sounds like an alert that you would hear on a phone, or you would hear just in general. It sounds like alert, a notification, right? Like, to me, I feel like I would hear that like if I got a text or something, you know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm trying to go for with that. And what it's basically what I'm trying to do is like you get this notification, this alert coming in. Okay. And you wake up because of it. So this, and then when you wake up is when the chords start. And then as you're looking around your room and as you're looking into space, you see right, sort of. And then you're now walking. You're walking through a hallway with windows on either side as you're seeing space in this. And then we get this build, this. This build happening, and then it gets to a point where it's building so much where we go, And we could say that it's building, and then you get into like an elevator, or you get into a hallway where there aren't windows, and suddenly the space part of it's kind of gone, right? So that all you really hear is just over and over again. So it's basically like you still hear that alert going on, essentially. So then you get out of like the elevator, you get out of the whatever hallway you're in, you see, a window pop up again, there's space again, and there's that. Right? Got this tension all over again? Right. Yep. Exactly. Right. And then we are really building, let's say you get into a giant room where there's a lot of people working right on the spaceship, and you get to this. Right. This huge moment where all this stuff is going on. Yeah. Yeah, you got it. You definitely got it. So then it's building, right? This. Right, and it builds to a certain point, and then we get to. And then while these chords are kind of descending down, like these. That's you sitting down at your console, like let's say, that you work at, and then you hear. And you see the alert, and then you slowly turn the alert off, and you get to work at your space station. And I don't know, to me, that's kind of what I was thinking while writing this. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was a nifty idea, and it also gave me the idea to write not just one piece like this, but like multiple, and turn it into like a saga kind of thing, which I thought would be cool. But anyway, so the next thing that we were going to work on was one of these. Which we actually have to go to this one. We gotta turn this down a little bit. It is early, and I don't want to wake anyone up. In my apartment complex. And unfortunately, this is like a super loud thing where I'm going like. So I'm going to try to keep it down just a bit. So I come up with multiple ideas for this. And when I was going over this kind of like space travel-y thing that I was doing, I came up with this. Which was, to me, when I was playing through that, I was like, this reminds me of like a Doom level. You listen to the first level in Doom, this is what it like reminds me of first thing. So these were like the ideas that I was coming with. Oh yeah, I forgot about this part. I forget how I did this. How did I do that? Oh, yeah. And I came up with all these kind of like weird ideas. Right. Power chords. Lots of 1s and 5s. Big time in this. But yeah. So I was trying to figure out how we wanted to write this because we don't have a melody. Literally all I have is this. Because I just don't have anything. So I think what's best is we write that out again. And maybe we don't need a melody right away, but I think it would be cool to kind of like, while that's going on, you know, eventually, at some point, we kind of have this playing. You know, like someone soloing over top of it. You know, and it can be a guitar. It doesn't have to be what I'm. It doesn't have to be an electric piano. But I do want that playing. That kind of thing going on. Doop 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 doop. So that we have a bass line and melody and chords going on kind of all at the same time at some point. And then, you know, on top of all of that that's going on, we can have like a... something weird going on there, right? So what I'm going to do is write out the bass line so that I can easily remember it too. And then I'm going to write in these chords that I want to put. You know what's weird is how I wrote this out. This is written out very, very strangely. I wrote this out like really stupidly. I wrote this out as if I wasn't. It's as if it was in 6/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6. It's really, really weird. And honestly, I don't think it should be written out that way. Cause like boom, ba doom, 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 ba doom. I think it should be at 6/8. All right, but it needs to be written out differently because I can't write it out like this. It doesn't make any sense. So it has to be grouped in a way that would make sense. Actually, if it really wasn't 6/8, because this is literally written out as if it's in 6/4. If this was written out in 6/8, these would be 16th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm pretty sure, right? That's my alarm to wake me up so that I have to stream. I forgot to turn off my alarm. Right? So I think that would have to go bum ba da da 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and da 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and da da. So to me, that's like to me those are using 16th notes. Like this is a so it's like this. Bum ba da 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 da, and then bum ba da 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 da. I don't know. Am I right in assuming that? I just feel like this is not written out correctly. This is written out as if the song was in 6/4. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I know what I mean, but I feel like I don't know what I mean. Maybe it's too early. Because I separated these out into threes, or into twos, and they should be in threes if it's in 6/8. Like, so if that's the case, then it should be. This is an 8th note. And then it should be something like this, like. And this is going to look really crappy, but that's kind of what it should be looking like, right? Is what this is. These are all 16th notes, and they're all tied together like this, and that's doon doo 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 doon, and that's a group of 3, and then we would have this, right? And then this is like this, and then it'll go bum ba da 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 da. And then it would be and 4 and, right? So I think it's just written out incorrectly, but you know what? We don't have to get too much into detail about it right now. This is really just for me, like writing it out like this is really just so that I can remember what exactly it was that I was writing. So even though it may be wrong, I'm going to write it out like this, and if it needs to get fixed, it needs to get fixed. But it just makes things a little bit speedier for everybody involved right now. And I just don't want to hold anyone up. So we're going to just do this. Write it out again so that we kind of have it set in our heads that this is how we want it to be. You know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I'm writing this out as if it's in 6/4. But, oh well. Maybe we'll just change it to 6/4. Anyways. That's not important right now. And then these would be naturalized. So, the big focal point of this type of thing is this. Which this gets repeated 3 times. All right. So, if that's the case, we need to put repeat signs. And then the tough part, I know I'm just going to write 3 times. The tough part about this type of thing now is fitting in the chords. Because that's what I want as far as the chords, and it's going to get real messy up in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write, something I haven't done yet is I'm going to write slashes and the chord symbol above, which basically indicates this is what the chord is, and then these slashes is the rhythm that you play that chord in. So I am going to write E minor 6 because that's what it is, really. If you break down what I'm playing to its simplest idea, it's an E minor 6. What I'm playing is a G, a B, a C sharp, and an F sharp. And in that, you have G and B, which are the 3 and 5 in E minor. You have the 6, which is C sharp, and then F sharp is the 9. So I guess you could say it's E minor 6, 9, but I'm not gonna write that because that's upsetting. So what I'm playing is da 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 So this right here, and that's kind of what like a slash note looks like, would be or F minor 6, because it goes up a half step. And what this is going to be like, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. So it's going to look like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and. Like this. Essentially is what it's going to look like. So, yeah, I've officially written this out into 6/4. It's not 6/8 anymore. So, I'm just going to write it as 6/4 so that it makes sense to everybody as to what I'm doing. Which basically means that the quarter note, there's 6 quarter notes in a measure. So it sounds like. And we're going to get to that, which is this next part. This boom, cha-doom, 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 cha-doom. And actually, I don't have to write it out as this anymore. That can actually just get straight up erased and be out of there. So what this next part is, I might actually write the chords out for this part, because I think it just makes sense. So we have it, so it's 3 times. This is a repeat back to the top, what I'm about to play. How do we want to do this? Put it like here, because we can pretty much fit like the whole beginning of this song like up in one measure, you know what I mean? So I think it would make more sense to write it up there. And what we're going to do is it's dun, 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 dun. So it's more of like, it's almost like we're turning it into like a 12/8, I guess you would call it. But it doesn't have to, we don't have to get to that point. So it's 1, dun, 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 dun. So how would we write this out? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and boom. So it would be like this. Okay, the bass notes would be dotted quarters, which makes sense. Everything. I think that's decently explainable. Is that the bass notes would be dotted quarters like this. And on all of the ands, so like 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and there is just a like that, right? So I mean, I guess the best way to put that is like, I will understand it if I do it like this. It's gonna look weird, but or it won't make much sense. But I can look back at it and be like, okay, yeah, I know what the rhythm is that he's talking about. Is that? Right. And all this is just playing the chords with like that. So I can actually do that. I'm gonna write them out as slash chords. It just is. It's gonna look super gross if I don't do it that way. So it's E minor 6. It's F minor 6. The last chord is F minor 6. The third chord is not. The third chord is interesting. It's this. It's a little different. And what? Oh man, this has got a lot of stuff in it. So bear with me. This is a G. It's G. I guess you can. Oh man, this is really heavy. This stuff. This chord. Because you can kind of call it 2 different things. You can say it's G minor, flat 5, 6, or G diminished 9. You can call it one or the other, but I'm really using it more as in the minor key. And the reason why I'm not just going up a whole step and making it this, making it that, is so it sounds different, essentially. Because it'll get boring. I don't want it to get boring. So, G minor flat 5, or G minor 6 flat. Well, that's what we'll call it. We'll call it G minor 6 with a flat 5. God, that's gross. That's so gross to write something like that. Yeah, that can get real intense. I'm excited to actually start solo, because I might just solo off of this, right? I might just like record this part of it and then just decide like, all right, I'm just gonna solo off of it. And just go absolutely freaking nuts with just weird stuff. And then what happens, is at some point it will, so this gets repeated. At some point, this last chord just goes up instead of goes back down, which is not a complicated thing to write to get. And then it's the exact same thing, but it's in A minor now. So it looks like this. And then it's actually, this would be B flat. As weird as that is. Yeah, that's intense. And then this would also get repeated 3 times. And then back to top. This would not get repeated. You would move on. So what this is the exact same thing, except I haven't actually played out the chords that I'm going to do. And actually it goes down a half step. God, you can really funk this thing up. But we're going to just be nice about it. Write it out like this. With little simple stuff. Okay. And then it's the exact same rhythms, right? So it's this, 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 and then just like that. Same rhythms. Nothing's changing. Okay. And what these would be is A minor 6, and then this last one would be a B flat minor 6. And then these would be A minor 6, B flat minor 6, and this would also be B flat minor 6. And then this I haven't actually decided. So if I do the same thing that I did like in the previous one where it was so I went like But it doesn't work quite as well, right? I want to bring that up to that. We want to go. So how do we do that? There we go. So what this would be is it would be C minor 6 with a flat 5. Or yeah, yep. C minor 6, flat 5. It's a little tiny, but you kind of get the gist, right? So the whole beginning of this, the whole big part of this. I mean, I don't really know how much more you can add into a Doom song, right? This is remember what this is supposed to be used for. It's supposed to be used for level music, and you can draw this out. I mean, there's not much here. It seems small. It seems like it's only 4 measures long. This could be large. There could be a lot happening here. So. Meanwhile, you know, you can have whatever going on up the top. You know, and that type of thing. Oh man, you can just go nuts with this. And then you can make like a solo section. Now it's starting to sound a little bit less Doom-like because I'm using like jazz licks and stuff like that. But you can add, you can change the sound from an electric piano to like a crunchy guitar, and it goes right back to Doom. So at the end of all of this going on, and it's absolute chaos, right? Like there's so much happening in all of this. You know, you go back and you write like I'll write like solo section, like that. And just do, you know, E minor 6, dun 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 dun, 1 2 3 4 5 6. That's a bar. This is a bar, and then we just repeat that for a little bit and just say vamp at the top, and then we do it again, but with the other two, right? Top of solo section, and we write A minor 6 and B flat minor 6. You can absolutely crush this thing, and that's it. And that's all you need, because this alone, this top part alone, will take you about a minute to play, probably, I would think. Now, I don't have a timer. Well, actually, I do have a timer. This is another good thing to do every once in a while. It's just to see exactly how long it's going to take you to play through a song. So you get a timer. I think I have a timer app. I hope I have a timer. I would think I would have a timer app. I have a clock. That's not the clock. I'm trying to click on the clock, though. Okay, I guess I literally don't have a timer app. Well, I'm not going to go digging through my phone on stream, but you record how long you think it would take, and then you go look up other people's stuff and see how long their stuff really is, and you can look up Doom level music, and it's like 3 minutes long, right? And you're like, whoa, how can they fit 3 minutes? Well, you also have to remember that they usually loop it at least twice, which means that the song itself is really only like a minute and a half, and a lot of the times it's them repeating stuff over and over again quite a bit, or they're just adding something on top. Like if you remember the first level of Doom, that boom 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 boom, everyone knows that from the first level of Doom, and that section they play that section twice without the guitar licks in the middle, and then they play it again with the guitar licks in the middle, and then they play it again with the doom 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 with the drummer going doom 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 doom, and then it just changes. So it's really just building on top of building on top of. So I can start this song off if I wanted to without the chords and just go. And then add the chords a second time, and then play it again, and then go to and then back to this. And you could do it a variety of different ways. And all of a sudden you're in a solo section where it's something really weird. And you can build on it, and then bam, you have 3 minutes of music. And you'd be surprised. And that's really all you need. And I would hate to like cut this short and be like, but to be honest with you, this is like a final draft of a song, like in this case. Now, if you see this project 3, so the other 2 projects that I did, they took up the whole page. Those were whole page projects that I had to do. This whole project took up the whole page because I needed the whole page to explain exactly what I was doing. Same thing with the second one. The second project I did also took a whole page, and you can see there's actually less music written down on it and more just words, because I had to just explain to myself what exactly is happening in the piece at the time. Well, here, it's really not much more complicated than this. And I'm not trying to simplify it because it's Doom and say, you just keep repeating it because it's Doom. I mean, no. I guess the big grab to this song would be this solo section where you can kind of just screw around for a little bit with a crunchy guitar or an electric piano and add a bunch of stuff. Now, one thing we didn't talk about with this is like what kind of sounds would you want to have with a piece like this? Well, obviously you need some sort of drum kit. Now, what kind of beat would you want to have with something like this? Right? You have this. So, I would say it'd be. I would say it'd be a lot of toms, a lot of like floor tom for a while, just do 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 and then eventually just kind of just letting the drummer, I guess, play along with you with the melody, playing the same rhythms as the melody, or he can even play the same along with you, kind of a thing. I think that would be best for something like this. It sounds strange, and it's starting to sound a little too jazzy, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what this really is. I kind of had an epiphany moment too with the very first song that I wrote, where I had labeled that first song as a Kingdom Hearts flashback song. Like that's where I saw it in the world. Like if I ever heard this song, this is where I would see it. But after playing through it a couple times, I can see it in other places. I think it would fit in other places also, and I think that's something to keep in mind. That you may see it you may see a song like this and not think Doom. You may think of something completely different, and that's the beauty of it. Is I have it labeled as Doom level music because that's what I think it would fit best in, but that's how I think. That's not how everybody thinks. I can't tell you how many times I've heard music and been like, "It's interesting that it's this part of the game." At this, like, as an example, especially since I've just been playing Overwatch for the past 6 hours, I never thought that the Overwatch main theme fit Overwatch. Now, that sounds like blasphemous to say, right? But there's just something about it that to me is a little empty, and it's just, I don't know. It to me, it doesn't capture it. It's almost like it's missing something. Because like Overwatch is one of those games where the whole like the music that they use in that is like very fanfare-y, like band music, sort of is kind of like what's going on with like in the main theme. A lot of horns, a lot of brass, and that sounds good. That's how it's supposed to be. But there's just a lot of gaps within the music, and I think that they can use like, I guess, their percussion a little bit better, in my opinion, because they only use it for like that boom doom do 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 do, and then boom, and I feel like they can fill gaps better with the percussion. I don't know, but the point is, there are some people that would say this is perfect. This fits Overwatch perfectly. I don't know what you're talking about. This is like the best Overwatch thing ever created, ever. Which, for some people, it is. But, anyways, that's just kind of my opinion on the matter. When it comes to this, you may not see Doom, and I think that that's fine. And I think if you don't, you should tell me if it works, because we actually had this kind of discussion before when I was I'm gonna make this clear. This notebook has just rough drafts. This notebook has final copies. So I have 10 rough drafts that I'm going through and now making final copies of. And one of the things that I did was I was doing Pokemon route music, and I did 2 different types of route music, because if you ever listen to Pokemon music, there's 2 distinct types of route music. There's the chiptune-y, very happy, perky, like beginning route music, which was this, and then what I thought was the big fanfare epic adventure route music, which is usually like once you're past like the first gym route music, which I thought was this. But after playing it for some people, they had suggested to me, I feel like this is more like credit music that you'd hear at the end once you've beaten the Elite Four. And as I played through it, I realized they're right. I totally agree with them. So I changed it to credit music. And honestly, I think it fits pretty well. So that's going to happen from time to time, and that's fine. That's the entire reason why I'm recording all this and documenting it, because showing people my process of writing and trying to be educational and fun and whatever. I love doing this stuff. So anytime anyone can give me ideas or can share their opinion, I'm all for it. So anyways, I didn't mean to divert myself from what I was doing. So anyways, yeah, we were talking about the percussion for this. So yeah, it's definitely going to be like some sort of drum kit thing, probably following the melody. Sorry. I actually like this synth sound that I have on this keyboard. Now I don't know if I can replicate that in Pro Tools when I eventually throw it in there and start recording with it, or I could even do a live recording and just loop some stuff. But I think it would sound better MIDI. And we're gonna probably have a couple different types of synths and stuff like that in this, especially for the soloing part. We'll see if it sounds better with another synth on top of it, or if it sounds better with like a guitar. because it might just sound better with a guitar. Because that's what really brings out the metal in a lot of the Doom music, I think. It's just having that guitar. I have to refresh this stream real quick. Give me 1 second. I think I gotta get that squared away. Okay, sweet. I think. Yes? No? Alright, cool. Okay. Yep, now sleepiness is hitting me, of course. Well, I still have this whole fucking thing. Coffee to take down. So, I hate to cut a project short, but I think that this is all we can do with this. This is a type of song. This is interesting. This is a type of song that does not have an ending. It's not going to have an ending because, like in Doom, it could just end abruptly once you finish the level. So there is no ending. It has to continuously loop. Except, unlike the other stuff that we did, where there has to be an ending. This is a space travel song, but it's also supposed to be kind of set in like a cutscene type of thing, like in a video game. Or if it was like the beginning, the intro to like a space movie of some kind, it has to end. It can't just end abruptly. The first one I did was a cutscene, Kingdom Hearts cutscene flashback thing. That will end. That will not abruptly end based off of you. Here there's user, I don't think I'd call it error, but there's a variable involved. Therefore, it's not going to just cut. It's not going to have an ending. It will just cut when you're done with the level. So that's kind of what this is all about. It's kind of why I didn't write an ending. Dude, seriously. So now I guess what we're going to do is take a look at the next project and see if I need an entire page for it or what the deal is. I don't actually remember what the fourth project here was. Oh, yeah. It's one of my favorites. So I have this labeled as Song of Storms. Not really sure if I've decided how I want this to be played out. Let me explain this project to you. These chords up top. That's all it is. That's all the song is right now. These chords are actually from another song that's a jazz standard called Red Clay. And it's just up a half step because Red Clay is usually in C minor, it's in C sharp. And I came up with this little melody, which is the top line of music, not the bottom line. The bottom line of music is Song of Storms. The top line of music is the melody I came up with. And what it is a way for me to practice 2 against 3, or 3 against 2, 3 against 2, not 2 against 3. 3 against 2 in my hands. Which has helped out quite a bit with that. But anyways, yeah, that's what it was for. And then as I was soloing off of the chords for a little bit, I realized that the melody to Song of Storms fits perfectly over this. And the chords actually work out awesomely with the melody. So I haven't really decided yet if I want to make this like a Song of Storms remix, or like arrangement, or its own thing. Jesus. Or I want to make it its own thing. The thing is, this particular song doesn't really have like much else going on other than these chords. There's no B section. And I guess I never really came up with an idea of where this would fit anywhere. You know what I mean? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the song. Not the Song of Storms part, but I'm going to play the actual song that I have written out. If you have any idea of what you think, where you think this would fit in anything, music, video games, anything, TV shows, movies, commercials, anything, anything that has music in it, where could you see this being played? And if it's a video game, be specific. If it's a TV show, it's a movie, whatever, be specific about it. Because that's kind of what we're trying to aim at. So I'm going to play it through it a couple times. So that's the song. Now, you're probably thinking, well, how does that sound like Song of Storms? Well, here's the song with Song of Storms over top of it. Ooh. So that's that. So you can kind of hear what they sound like, right? So my question is, should this song just be kind of like a Song of Storms remix? Or does it fit somewhere else? And if it does, where? And even just playing through it myself, I'm still kind of struggling to figure out exactly where to put it. Because a song like this can fit, in like a cutscene. A song like this is not going to be in your typical action-adventure video game, racing game, sports game, things like that. It's a very narrow type of song. It's going to fit like an RPG, and that's about it. I mean, I don't see it anywhere else, right? It's not going to be in like a puzzle game. You know, it's not going to be in like an RTS. It's not going to be in a shooter. It's going to be in like a probably an RPG. I think that's where it's going to fit best. Maybe like a simulation game, but I don't even really think it would fit there. So that's just in terms of games. In terms of like any other sort of like real world media, you know, it's not going to be like something in like a commercial. It's not going to be like I don't even really see it in like a TV show. I could possibly see it in a movie, maybe, as like a. I don't even really know, man. That's kind of. Unfortunately, that type of stuff is kind of out of my, just out of my like. I just don't know where you would put that type of thing. I'm more focused on like where it would fit in a video game type of deal. I honestly think it sounds better as like a Song of Storms thing, because I can see that in a Zelda game, even without the Song of Storms, just like the actual thing in a Zelda game. So I'm starting to think that's where it's going to fit best. I will be right back. I'm just going to use the restroom here. And when we get back, we're going to write this out as a Song of Storms remix, and we will get back to you. I am not going to lie. I'm really starting to get sleepy. And they did not ground this coffee up very well, because I'm still getting, like, grounds. Ugh. I'm gonna refresh the stream. I'm gonna need every ounce of that shit. Anyways. So yeah. After playing through this is definitely going to be some sort of Song of Storms type of deal, I think. I think it fits best there. I think even without it, it fits best in a Zelda game. I don't know why. Sometimes you don't know why. Sometimes it just fits. And just already having the Zelda thing going on with it, it's where it's going to fit best. So, the question I have then is this first part gonna fit any? Is that going to be relevant somewhere, or should I just not worry about it and play the Song of Storms thing? Because we can do that. The only crappy thing about a Song of Storms remake is if you listen to the actual Song of Storms, it's very short. There's like nothing to it. Like, listen to the Song of Storms. And that's it. There's nothing else. Like, yeah, they changed the different instrument playing the melody, but the melody is the same. So we have to add on top of that, because if you don't, it's just going to be boring. So if this is the case, if we're going to do this remake thing, I believe you don't need a full page for it. And so I'm going to write Project 4. Song of Storms. Let's just put remix, because it's not really an arrangement of the Song of Storms song. This is an example of something that I am not going to use a grand staff for. The last two songs, the first song I played, the first song that I wrote out, I did not use a grand staff. I just had chord symbols and the melody. The next two songs I had grand staffs. This is not. And that is because I don't need to write out the chords in this case. It's not like specific things going on that need the whole thing written out, if you know what I mean. So, this song is in C sharp minor, which means that it has 4 sharps. This song is also in 6/8. I seem to be a big fan of 6/8, huh? I really am, though. I also wrote this one out weird. I don't know what to say about that whole deal. I guess I just write things out weird. I don't know. Anyways. So, this is really just kind of a copy-paste deal. At least to start. We'll probably have some sort of intro to start this off. Because the actual Song of Storms has this. Oh, that actually kind of sounds cool. Now I'm just making up kind of this little intro part. Dude, that actually sounds sick. Okay, wait. Nope. We have to have an intro. That actually sounds really cool. So would it... Oh, man, I'm excited about this little intro. And I'm going to write these squiggles to kind of cancel that part of it out because it's just going to get in the way of the title. And I don't want it to get in the way of the title. That's the only reason. And I'm just going to write that quickly. And this, which basically just means play the chord. Okay, so this chord that I'm playing here is really, really strange, and I don't even really know if I would qualify this as like a chord that you can... Because it's both major and minor, because I'm playing both of them. But I think it sounds so cool. Could play that. I don't like that as much as it's so crunchy and gross. I love it. So what I would kind of qualify this chord as, I guess, is E9 over E minor. Okay, and this is a rare type of thing. What I'm talking about with this here is because it's basically a chord with a chord underneath it, which can happen sometimes. You can do that a little bit, or a lot of times what people will just do is they will just have a weird bass note. For example, they'll play that E9 with E flat in the bass to make it sound kind of weird. This, I'm playing that E9 with. What you can do, it's gonna sound weird, but if that's what you're going for, that's what you're going for, and that's what I'm going for. So what it is E9 with E minor over the bottom of it, and it's weird, but I love how that sounds. I think that sounds so cool. Listen to it again. And I love the inner voice of... Listen to that inner voice. I'll try to emphasize it. I think that just sounds so cool. And you can make weird solos, man. I'm excited about that intro. I'm just excited about that intro. That's it. The rest of the song is whatever. I'm excited about that intro. That is such a cool intro. Let me refresh the stream real quick. Sorry. Every once in a while, I've got to give it a quick refresh. Sweet. I just think that sounds neat. And actually, we can change the chords now up. I almost like it more now. Just having that intro. I almost like those intro chords over top of it. Like, oh man, this sounds so cool. I have an affinity for strange chords, and I think that just sounds cool. You know, we could play it once through with this. it's just the neatest. I think I'm going to do something like that though, and just have those chords kind of underline it to start. But anyways, boo-doo-dee, boo-doo-dee. Let's write out just the actual melody so that we have it. Right. So da-da-da-da-da-da, and then actually just have the melody here, so I guess I'll just copy it straight off. And actually, I only wrote out the first part of it. I didn't even write out the whole thing. Which, there's not too much of a difference between the two. Like, between the first, like, section of the Song of Storms thing and the second section. Just the ending slightly different. And then it's the same thing repeated. Probably can't see that, nope. Song of Storms is a pretty simple song. Which Zelda songs are kind of known for their short and sweet songs. I mean, like, the most famous song, which is probably Zelda's Lullaby, is, like, the shortest thing ever. Well, like, at least the part that everybody knows, which is just do 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 do, and then do 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 do. So it's 1 2 da da. 1 2 1 2 and 3 and 1. And no B C sharp. I guess you would do this and then tie it to a thing like that. And so, like, the first set of chords. Okay, so let's do it again. Man, I just think it sounds. I love that. Just the bizarreness, I guess, if that's a word, really brings it out. So, what I'm going to do here is write out that this is essentially what the chords are, and how they're going to be written out is E minor, and then E flat, and it's basically the same stuff. I'm not changing up the chords, at least the first time through. So I'm going to write the universal symbol for repeat the chord, which is this. See that symbol? It's repeat the same chords. It's basically, and I can even just write repeat pattern for myself. On top of that, I'm going to write a thing that just says alternate chords. And write them quickly down as this, to B minor 7, to E7, to A major 7 to E flat minor 7 flat 5 to A flat 7 altered. And that is the chords that I played the second time around, which is this. Which I have not decided which one I like more. I love how odd it is. It sounds so odd. I'm going to turn up the volume a little bit. Sounds like really crunchy, right? It's because I'm basically just playing. That's the chord. Gross. It's gross sounding. That's what's great about it. Just listen to the inner line. Even how it clashes with the melody so perfectly. It's not so off with the melody that it's like disturbing sounding, but it's just clashy enough that it's like a little tweak where it's like, oh, that just doesn't sound, that just sounds a little off. And the Song of Storms, you know, like one of the first places I remember seeing it was in Ocarina of Time, where you go into that windmill and it just says question mark when you walk in, and there's just this song playing, right? So it's kind of a mysterious, interesting, weird song in itself. So to have that little just crunch, so you play the melody, it's so off, but it's just enough that it makes it sound perfect for a Song of Storms like remix type of thing, and I love it. It almost makes you, really like that. I really, really do. I think that that's going to be a fine little remake eventually when we figure out how we're going to play it and how we're going to do it. I think this would sound good with just piano. Now, I'm curious how it sounds with electric. Let me just... I'm not getting the same impact, honestly. I think it sounds much better. You can hear crunchiness a lot better in a regular piano sound than electric. Electric piano sound is very good for pure sounding chords. So what I mean by that is a crunchy chord like that, you're not going to hear that as well, and you can't tell it's a crunchy chord. You just kind of hear and not the crunch. Here you hear it. You hear how dissonant that sounds. But in a chord like this is just E flat minor, and this, it sounds awesome. It's probably the best sounding E flat minor you'll ever hear, because electric piano sounds are so pure that if you play all the, they're not, electric piano in my opinion, it's not great for rolling chords, or like that. You know, like playing like certain notes, like that kind of thing. It's good if you just hit all the notes at once, just bam, and it's a good sounding chord. There's not immediate dissonance, and what I mean by that is like there's no half steps that you're playing together like that. It just doesn't bring out what you need, I think, in electric piano. But if you play a pure sounding chord like that, it's awesome. Or it's gorgeous. But for that real crunch, you need really, really cool. Yeah. So, listen, I hate to wrap things up soon. And by the way, I think that's all I want to do with this. I don't want to make it too intense. We'll probably come back to this tomorrow morning. Just kind of patch some things up and do some stuff. I am just really at this point like falling asleep. I'm trying to stay awake, but it's tough. So we're gonna wrap things up for today. Decently short stream, but that's kind of how weekends are gonna go. Weekends are kind of up in the air when I stream. Weekdays are different. Weekdays every single day. You know what I mean? Yeah, I like it too. It's a really great song. But yeah, like weekdays are always gonna start at 9 or 10 in the morning, unless something strange happens where I have to show it to you on Twitter. I have to mention on Twitter about something specific, but like Friday, that whole thing was ridiculous. I think I will find my viewers. I'm hoping I do. I think if I keep at it and keep being consistent with it, I think I will. But I appreciate it. I really do. I think so too, man. I really appreciate you stopping by. But yeah, weekdays 9 to 1, 9 to 2, depending on what's going on that day. Unless I have to put it on Twitter that something else is going on. And then weekends are going to be a little different depending on what I have planned for the weekend, because that's a little more spontaneous what things are going on during the week, or during the weekend, I should say. So thank you very much for coming out, those of you who did. If you haven't already, please hit follow. Keeps me going, keeps me wanting to stream my career. And yeah, I will see you tomorrow at 9 in the morning, 9 or 10, depending on just I guess how I feel. And I think nine's a decent time. I think it gives me enough time to get everything accomplished that I need to. So I really appreciate you stopping by. And like I said, if you haven't hit follow yet, please do. Check my Twitter because it will update you if for whatever reason I have to cancel a stream or I have to move one back or move one forward. And I'll leave you with David Maxim Mikic, who's one of the just best songwriters ever. I freaking love his work. So stay tuned for tomorrow's stream. It'll be a lot of fun. And thanks, guys.